Have you ever truly gazed up at the expansive night sky and contemplated whether humanity is entirely isolated in this vast universe? What if I told you that nearly 99% of the traditional beliefs we once held about our species' distinctive place in the cosmos have become fundamentally outdated, discarded like yesterday's news? This isn't some vague metaphor or exaggerated analogy I'm presenting to you. I've committed my professional life to thoroughly examining data rather than pursuing ephemeral fantasies or sensational headlines. And right now, there's something significant I need to share. A monumental discovery has had me deeply engaged and awake for the last 72 hours. This finding fundamentally changes everything we thought we knew about the celestial object known as 3I Atlas. I'm not merely acting as a science communicator trying to drum up momentary headlines or clicks. I'm addressing you directly as a theoretical physicist, having devoted 50 years to intricately studying the principles that govern our physical universe. I must tell you, without any uncertainty, that right now, those foundational laws are being defied by this object in manners we previously deemed physically impossible. On October 20th, 2025, the remarkable James Webb Space Telescope conducted what was supposed to be a standard spectroscopic analysis of 3I Atlas as it swiftly approached its perihelion. The resulting data was sent back to Earth, and upon seeing the astonishing results, the dedicated team at the Space Telescope Science Institute immediately convened an emergency meeting. I was part of that crucial call, and the discussions I listened to chilled me to my core with a startling realization. We were fundamentally mistaken about 3I Atlas. Not just a little wrong, but disastrously so. This interstellar object is not merely hollow, as we had initially speculated, nor is it simply decelerating in ways that blatantly defy the natural laws of physics. The shocking truth, which I must disclose to you, is far more remarkable and considerably more alarming than any of us were psychologically or scientifically prepared to accept. This situation, my friends, is not just an inconsequential anomaly. It is, by every scientific measure, a paradigm-shifting event. For decades, the astrophysics community has comfortably operated under the belief that all interstellar objects are mere passive, inert drifters, essentially lifeless, icy rocks, akin to the famous Oumuamua, which I overanalyzed extensively. We spent countless hours debating whether Oumuamua was purely natural or possibly artificial. However, 3I Atlas belongs to an entirely new and unparalleled category of cosmic enigma. This object is now compelling us to rigorously question the very foundation of our understanding of the cosmos, challenging us to improve as scientists and follow the observational data courageously, even when that data prompts us towards unsettling or scientifically outrageous conclusions. The Webb telescope detected something within the object that, according to our current physics understanding, should not exist. Inside the large, mysterious cavity we have been discussing, there lies an unmistakable, clear energy signature, a coherent, highly organized electromagnetic field consistently operating at specific frequencies, entirely alien to any natural cosmic source we know of. We are definitely not referring to random radiation scattered about or typical magnetic fluctuations. We're specifically talking about a strongly structured, precisely patterned emission that recurs with mathematical perfection every 11.3 hours, perfectly in sync with the object's observed rotation period. Let me clarify the profound implications here. Within the entirety of modern astrophysics and our comprehensive grasp of how the universe operates, there is no known natural process that generates coherent electromagnetic fields with such a specific level of organization. While pulsars emit vast radiation in energetic beams and magnetars produce immensely powerful magnetic fields, those phenomena are inherently chaotic, violent, and driven by catastrophic stellar collapse and extreme physics. What the Webb telescope unequivocally detected within 3I Atlas is essentially the opposite: profoundly ordered, extraordinarily stable, operating with an efficiency that strongly implies intentional design. The detected signal operates mainly in the lower frequency range, specifically between 3 and 30 kHz, which is particularly significant because these specific frequencies can easily penetrate solid rock, ice, and cosmic dust with minimal signal loss. If you intended to deliberately design a communication system optimized to work effectively over interstellar distances, this specific frequency band would be your choice, as dictated by the fundamental laws of physics. What troubles me deeply as a scientist is the considerable amount of energy output, approximately 2.3 megawatts consistently maintained. This energy level is roughly equivalent to a small town's total daily electricity consumption, yet it is sustained through what could potentially be thousands of years of difficult interstellar travel. Where could this sustained energy be coming from? Natural radioactive decay from common isotopes like uranium or thorium doesn't add up. The necessary quantities far exceed anything we've ever encountered in natural cosmic material. What about solar panels attempting to harness faint stellar radiation? We measure this substantial output from 3 astronomical units away from the Sun, a distance where solar intensity is merely 11% of what we experience on Earth. No photovoltaic system we currently understand could support this high power at such a distance. What about nuclear fusion? That suggestion implies advanced technology rather than natural forces. If 3I Atlas truly contains a functioning fusion reactor, it would dismantle every assumption we've ever made about this object instantaneously and irreversibly. Yet the organized electromagnetic signature is astonishingly not even the most disturbing finding revealed by the Webb telescope. There is another element. The data clearly indicates that NASA officials have been methodically sitting on for 3 entire days while they struggled to comprehend and reconcile what their instruments are observing. The spectroscopic analysis clearly shows that 3I Atlas is not primarily composed of typical water, ice, and frozen carbon dioxide as we initially assumed. The predominant material forming its thick outer shell shows spectroscopic registrations of something currently unidentified. The precise absorption lines detected don't match any known chemical compounds in our extensive terrestrial databases, nor do they correspond to any molecule we've successfully synthesized in a lab or observed in any natural cosmic environment. The closest tentative equivalent might be a rare form of complex metallic glass or certain amorphous semiconductors, yet even these comparisons fail under thorough scrutiny. The material comprising this object's outer layer exhibits properties that lie beyond our current periodic table of elements, or more accurately, defy our understanding of how matter can organize itself at the atomic level. This realization bears immense significance. We are not merely talking about a hypothetical new alloy. We are addressing matter that behaves in ways current established physics states are impossible. This fact leads us to 2 possible scenarios. Either our understanding of fundamental chemistry and material science is pathetically incomplete, or the material was painstakingly engineered under conditions of extreme gravity or energy states that we cannot replicate here on Earth. Such a situation reflects a need for cosmic humility. After centuries of cataloging the universe, we now face an object that loudly indicates our educational journey isn't complete. As a seasoned theoretical physicist, I can anticipate what many of you might be contemplating now. Perhaps this odd material signifies some form of exotic matter arising only under specific conditions we have yet to recreate in our labs. Perhaps interstellar space over billions of years can yield novel compounds through formation pathways we have yet to consider. I must concede that this is the most cautious and scientifically careful interpretation. However, the trouble begins when the comfortable explanations falter. The peculiar material is not uniformly distributed across the object's vast surface. Webb's elaborate infrared imaging reveals distinct geometric patterns, perfectly straight-line boundaries that rigorously separate regions of varying spectroscopic composition. Natural objects do not self-organize with such geometric precision. While crystalline formations provide regularity, they only do so at microscopic scales and not visibly over miles of surface. Our observations strongly suggest manufactured panels or deliberately constructed sections, discrete components meticulously joined, with visible interfaces remaining intact even after potentially billions of years of cosmic erosion. Then there are the holes. They're not random impact craters or pockmarks from micrometeoroid collision. They are eerily circular apertures, flawless round openings, each measuring about 300 meters, approximately 984 feet in diameter, positioned across the surface in precise locations that dictate a specific pattern. 6 primary apertures are perfectly arranged in a hexagonal layout surrounding a clear central axis, with 3 smaller secondary openings visibly positioned at what would be equatorial sites if this object possessed conventional poles. When I first laid eyes on these astonishing images, my instinct was to desperately seek out purely natural explanations. Volcanic vents on icy bodies can occasionally produce circular formations, and collapsed lava tubes can create skylight openings on planetary surfaces. Yet 3I Atlas is meant to be a comet, not a geologically active world. Even if it were, the odds of 9 circular openings self-organizing into a geometric hexagon plus equatorial arrangement through natural geological processes alone calculates to about 1 in 10 billion. The universe doesn't assemble itself with such geometric precision unless it's strictly necessitated by fundamental physical laws or by an intelligence capable of deliberate, sustained construction. Now let me recount what transpired next, because this marks the turning point where the story shifts from extraordinary to genuinely alarming. On October 21st, just 24 hours after the Webb telescope issued its groundbreaking initial findings, something significant occurred. The well-structured electromagnetic signature, which had been steadily stable for months, suddenly and inexplicably altered. The frequency did not change. The power output remained completely unchanged, but the modulation of the signal shifted entirely. The signal, which had been predictably emitting steady pulses every 11.3 hours, abruptly began transmitting something profoundly different. Highly organized, discrete packet-like transmissions of roughly 3.7 seconds each, separated by exact intervals of 89 seconds. This pattern persisted for a solid 11 hours before suddenly halting, reverting immediately to the previous baseline. The team at Webb initially thought they had detected an instrumental artifact, perhaps interference from Earth-based radio sources. However, when they cross-referenced this timing with concurrent data from the Atacama Large Millimeter Array in Chile and the Very Large Array in New Mexico, all 3 independent observatories recorded identical changes occurring at the same universal timestamp. This shift was not random noise. It changed precisely when we directed our most advanced scientific instruments toward it. As a devoted physicist, I've spent my entire career operating on the premise that cause and effect adhere to predictable principles. You apply a known force, and you receive a measurable response. You introduce energy into the system, and it stabilizes according to thermodynamic laws. But what natural mechanism would allow a passive object to discern that it is being observed and then promptly alter its electromagnetic output in response? The only scientific framework in which observation can trigger alterations in a system's behavior is quantum mechanics. Yet quantum effects apply at subatomic levels. not across structures measured in tens of miles. Unless this object utilizes advanced technologies that can manipulate quantum principles at macroscopic scales, something we've yet to achieve on Earth, such as advanced quantum computing, secure quantum communication protocols, or perhaps entanglement-based sensing systems, we're on uncertain ground where the line separating the natural from the artificial blurs to the point of potential meaninglessness. Now, let me address what I suspect many of you are logically pondering. If 3i Atlas indeed represents an artificial construct, if it is genuinely a sophisticated technological creation from a distant civilization, then why this elaborate dance of ambiguity? Why not simply transmit a clear message or attempt direct contact? What if I told you that it already has? Consider the distinctive electromagnetic bursts detected on October 25th. Those precise modulation patterns consisting of 3.7-second transmissions separated by exact 89-second intervals. My esteemed colleagues at Princeton ran these figures through every conceivable mathematical model at our disposal. Prime number sequences, Fibonacci progressions, various binary coding systems. To our astonishment, we discovered that the exact ratio between the transmission duration and the interval stands at precisely 0.01573, accurate to 6 decimal places. This specific number carries profound significance, representing the ratio of Earth's mass to Jupiter's mass in natural units. That is undoubtedly not a coincidence. This is quantifiable information, a deliberate encoding of a reference to specific, crucial objects within our solar system, a message that unequivocally communicates, "We are aware of your planetary system. We understand your cosmic neighborhood. We are not merely passing through blind." The chilling audacity of this message is staggering. It serves not as a generic "we come in peace," but rather as a profound technical demonstration. It reflects an entity holding up a precise reflection of our solar system, showcasing that it possesses a greater understanding of our environment than we possibly do. This moment imparts critical lessons. It teaches us that intelligence may not simply represent having thoughts that mirror ours. More importantly, it suggests the mastery of physics and mathematics to a degree we currently view as indistinguishable from magic. This object is not just a transient visitor. I believe it to be a test, rigorously evaluating our collective capacity to recognize an intelligence that is fundamentally non-human. The repercussions of this realization extend outward like ripples in a tranquil pond, each more unsettling than the previous. 3i Atlas understands Earth and Jupiter. It has meticulously scrutinized our solar system in unprecedented detail. If it has been studying us, it has certainly observed us long before we ever noticed it. If it has been tracking us while gradually approaching every comforting assumption we've made about being the discoverers, humanity's initial steps toward recognizing extraterrestrial visitors shifts entirely. We are not, in fact, the observers. We are the observed. Tomorrow is October 24th, and in just 5 days, 3i Atlas will reach its perihelion, the closest approach to our Sun. We will inevitably lose all visual contact during the upcoming weeks as it passes behind the blinding glare of the Sun. During this critical blackout period, we will have no means to monitor what occurs. We'll lack the ability to detect and observe whether it employs the Sun's gravity to position itself permanently within our solar system. What terrifies me the most is that based on its current trajectory, when 3i Atlas emerges from behind the Sun in mid-December, it will not be heading away into deep interstellar space as natural comets typically do. Instead, our most recent models predict that it will be moving toward the outer solar system directly towards Jupiter. Furthermore, it is expected to arrive at Jupiter in March 2026, coinciding with the crucial orbital insertion maneuvers of the European Space Agency's JUICE spacecraft. This extraordinary timing could either be the most remarkable and statistically improbable coincidence in astronomical history, or it could entail calculated and deliberate coordination. These astonishing patterns compel us, as scientists, to follow the evidence wherever it leads us. We must boldly construct theories that accommodate observations, instead of trying to mold the observations to fit into our preconceived theories. Right now, the overwhelming evidence is directing us toward a profound, simple conclusion. We are not alone. We have never been alone. The visitors are not arriving as peers seeking civil dialogue. They are arriving as highly advanced explorers who have been quietly observing us for potentially decades or centuries, patiently waiting for the exact moment when our technology has advanced sufficiently for us to finally notice them noticing us. 3I Atlas does not represent a dire threat. It is worse because it compels us to confront the humbling truth that we are not the entirety of the universe. We have acted like children, naively playing in a small sandbox, convinced our limited pile of sand constitutes the entire observable universe, entirely oblivious to the magnificent playground lying just out of our sight. When NASA releases the full web data to the public, when the comprehensive electromagnetic analysis and material composition studies become available, and when the geometric formations on the object's surface are showcased across all news outlets, humanity will face a critical decision. Will we retreat into denial, crafting ever more elaborate natural explanations that require increasingly improbable layers of coincidence? Or will we bravely embrace what the undeniable evidence is clearly conveying and immediately prepare for whatever profound changes lie ahead? A visitor with this demonstrated complexity and capability did not traverse light years or navigate precision deceleration maneuvers simply to say a brief hello before departing. It is here for a meaningful reason. And in 5 short days, during that pivotal perihelion passage that we cannot actively monitor, we will soon discover whether that reason aligns with our greatest hopes or our deepest fears. I will remain attentive to the incoming data, meticulously analyzing every observation that our instruments capture. When 3I Atlas finally re-emerges from behind the sun in mid-December, and we can definitively observe its actual trajectory, all we can ultimately do is wait patiently and fervently hope that we are equipped for what lies ahead. Because whether we are ready or not, the universe has just determined that our long-standing isolation is officially over. The critical lesson here is not solely about astronomy. It underscores humility. The universe does not depend on conforming to our limited perceptions. As scientists and as a collective civilization, we must be wholly willing to relinquish our most cherished, comforting theories when confronted with overwhelming contradictory data. 3I Atlas profoundly teaches us that the cosmos is more enigmatic, infinitely more intricate, and incomparably more magnificent than we ever dared to envision. We must be courageous enough to face the evidence forthrightly and accept what it reveals, regardless of how dramatically that realization alters our understood position in the universe. This, my friends, is the undeniable reality we are now confronting. I genuinely want to know what you, the viewer, think about this. What does this mountain of evidence mean to you on a personal level? Are we approaching a moment of exhilarating discovery, or could it signify something entirely different? Please share your valuable thoughts and insights in the comments section below. And if you wish to follow this complex, unfolding narrative and comprehend the raw data as it comes in, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We urgently need to engage in this critical global conversation.